the Knot Worldwide, adding a decorated board member in Carolyn Everson. She has a strong background in consumer businesses, including as former president of Instacart and a VP at Facebook. Everson is a senior advisor at investment firm Permira, sits on the boards of Disney, Coca-Cola, and Under Armour. Carolyn, welcome. Another board, another important consumer name. Tell me, the Knot is at the intersection of some really important macro trends, experiences, services, just consumer debt. As you look at the rest of the year, do you think consumer spending can hold up through the end of the year, and can services continue to outperform?
Well, thanks for having me on, John, and hello to you, Morgan, as well. I'm thrilled to be on. Yes, I joined the Knot, which is the Knot Worldwide, which is a private company, as part of my role in advising at Permira, the private equity firm I joined in January. And I was really excited to join the Knot for a few reasons. One, I have a background in history in the wedding category. One of my very early jobs was actually being the CEO of modernbride.com and the Wedding Network. So I used to compete with the Knot way back when. And the Knot, as you mentioned, is at the intersection of so many interesting dynamics. It celebrates the most important moments in consumers' lives. Last year was actually the Super Bowl of weddings. There were 2.6 million weddings. There was a bit of pent-up demand, as you can imagine, post-COVID. This year, it's stabilizing to pre-pandemic levels of about 2.1 million weddings. And what we are seeing is that despite challenges in the economy and in consumer spending, the average spend of a wedding is about $30,000 in the U.S. That's holding fairly steady. But what couples are choosing to spend money on is shifting a bit. They're looking for very significant moments and wows to make their wedding celebration stand out. They are very focused on guests coming in and having an experience in person that, frankly, we were all robbed of during the pandemic. And so I think as digital as the world has become, and I certainly have spent my career in digital, there is some magic in celebrating together, and guests are showing that they're willing to spend money to go to weddings and travel, because I think people are craving these in-person celebrations.
Yeah, I think that's still very much the case, too. I mean, it got our attention that Signet Jewelers, not that long ago, basically shared a surprising tidbit. They said that they're selling fewer engagement rings this year because singles who were stuck at home during lockdowns failed to meet their loves, their would-be fiancés, and it's impacting their results, their earnings results. It raises the question, whether it's the Knot or whether it's Disney or Coke or Under Armour. I mean, you have such a pulse on what's going on with consumers across goods and services. Have we seen certain behaviors shift coming out of the pandemic fundamentally that will never return to where they were before?
So what we've seen is a shift towards people craving experiences and services. So you see the travel industry has had quite a year, and by all indications, summer travel season is going to be very strong. Certainly at Disney, we've experienced excellent attendance at our parks and resorts. I think from a wedding standpoint, we are seeing it stabilize to pre-pandemic levels. And so there was definitely an interruption during COVID for in-person celebrations and perhaps people meeting, but we're also not taking into account the importance of online. A third of couples in the US, Canada, and the UK are meeting online, and those numbers are dramatically increasing in Latin America since the pandemic. And so I think people are finding alternative ways to meet and at least start a conversation in the post-pandemic world. But I think there's no question that the value consumers place on creating memories, and in our case at the Knot, celebratory moments, is very, very high, and people are prioritizing spend on them.